Hey, what's up, and welcome into our downtown Phoenix studios for the second episode of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Chaz Frazier, joined alongside Eliav Gabay.
Chaz, I'm so happy to be here with you. I mean, I just feel like dancing, man.
Wait, what, you mean right now during the show, Eliav?
Right now, get him with
okay.
a hey.
Wait, stop, Eliav. Not only are you a better dancer than me, we don't have time for this, nor is this the place.
Right.
We have to toss it out to Lubbock, Texas, where our very own Jack Harris was covering ASU's near comeback. Jack?
Well, thanks, guys. This was the scene of the action here at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas. It's quiet now, but it wasn't quiet when Dylan Cantrell crossed the goal line late in the fourth quarter to ensure that Texas Tech did not blow a three-time 18-point lead against the Arizona State Sun Devils here on Saturday night in West Texas. It was a game of two halves for the Sun Devils. They trailed 21-3 at the end of the first quarter. They were down 35-17 at halftime, but Manny Wilkins in the offense picked it up in the second half. Wilkins finished the game with 3 touchdown passes. 2 of them were to Kyle Williams, who was stepping in for an injured John Humphrey, and then the game-tying touchdown pass came on a seam route to N'Keal Harry. That had the game tied at 45 before Texas Tech got the ball back, and Cantrell scored the game-winning score to make it 52-45. The first half, though, for ASU was filled with plenty of mistakes. Special teams was an issue again. They had a blocked punt late in the first half that led to a Texas Tech touchdown. They had all sorts of issues snapping the football in the first half, including a fumbled snap that led to a Texas Tech touchdown. The Red Raiders made mistakes of their own. On one drive alone, they had 4 15-yard penalties that helped ASU score. They also had a fumble on the ASU 1-yard line when it looked like they were going to go into the end zone. But at the end of the day, it was Texas Tech who made the least amount of mistakes and came through at the end of the game. Again, Cantrell had that game-winning score, 52-45 the final. Texas Tech improves to 2-0. Arizona State falls to 1-2 going into Pac-12 play next week when they host Oregon. I'll send it back to the studio to you guys. This is Jack Harris reporting from Lubbock, Texas.
Thanks, Jack. And to delve deeper into the Sun Devils' 52-45 loss to Texas Tech, we bring on WCSN football reporter Ryan Clark. Ryan, thanks for being on. Now, ASU came back late versus Texas Tech, but the hole they dug for themselves in the first half was just too much to overcome. What were the biggest differences between the first half and the second half?
Well, they showed some good signs on both sides of the ball in the second half, but just weren't able to finish the game. I mean, in the first half, they were dreadful on both sides. The offensive line really struggled, and they had a lot of issues protecting Manny Wilkins and also giving Kalen Ballage the holes that he needed to break out for the big runs that he was capable of getting last year against Texas Tech. Yeah. So they need to be better on both sides of the ball going forward if they want to win.
Now, the Sun Devils had a rocky start in general to their season. Now, what can we expect from them moving into this really tough Pac-12 competition?
Well, we can expect more of the same if they don't make some changes to their scheme. So I think both on the offensive side, they need to move to more of a pass-first approach because Manny Wilkins has been playing very well, all things considered. And on the defensive side, they just need to be able to defend, period. I mean, both the run and the pass, they have struggled mightily to defend this season, whether they're playing SDSU and Rashad Penny or struggling to defend the pass against Texas Tech. So against a team like Oregon coming up, that's going to be hugely important, the defensive side of the ball.
You mentioned Oregon, and ASU opens up their conference play against Oregon. How do they get a win here?
Well, they got to stop Royce Freeman first and foremost. He is the best running back in the country, and if they had trouble with Rashad Penny, they're going to have trouble with a guy like Royce Freeman, who's a lot bigger, stronger, and some would even say faster. So this is going to be a tough matchup for them. They got to stop Royce Freeman, and Justin Herbert's a great quarterback for the Ducks, but the run game has to be contained first for this Oregon team. They have 18 rushing touchdowns on the season, 23 in total. Both of those lead the nation.
All right, well, stop that run, ASU. That's what Ryan says. Arizona State will take on the Oregon Ducks this Saturday in Tempe at 7 p.m. And for all of Ryan Clark's content, check out CronkiteSports.com. All right, enough talking about football. Let's talk about some football. Ryan, I know you like that one. ASU soccer dominated Weber State 4-0 on Sunday. Let's send it out to WCSN soccer coverage team to break down Arizona State's victory.
I'm Serena Raboyne here at Sun Devils Soccer Stadium, where Arizona State University took on Weber State with a 4-0 victory. Now, Arizona State's offense looked a lot different than what we've seen in the past, so what do you guys think was the real difference?
Well, Serena, I think the two big keys in this game was composure and communication. I think ASU held their composure in the final third of the pitch, which they haven't been able to do before, so I think that's really why the goals started coming this game. As for communication, I've never heard ASU be so communicative before, especially Gemma Perfield, she was a big key in that. She was communicating with her teammates all game long. So I think those were the two big keys.
For me, it was the 50-50 balls for ASU. They looked phenomenal today, and it's best 50-50 ball wins that they've had all season. That was kind of absence in the first couple games, and I think that really pushed them to win against Weber State 4-0. And I would also have to agree with Jose about the communication. It was the most we've ever heard them communicate in this game since they started the season, and I think that's really what put them also at a 4-0 win.
So there were many different players that were involved in the key win for Arizona State University. What do you guys think was the most important?
So I think for me, the player of the game was Devin Kelsey. She's a midfielder. She played phenomenal in the midfield this game. She had a goal and an assist, both of them phenomenal. Long goal, it was 25 yards out, just a strike, and then the assist right to the far post to Natalie Stephens. And Natalie, all she had to do was just kick it right in there, so she was phenomenal this game.
I'm going to go with Angela Boyle, center back for ASU. This is the best game that she's played all season long. It looked fantastic. It was clean, no mistakes in the back line. And she also got in there on those corner kicks. She was very vocal, and you could see her out there. And she scored that on that one corner kick with a nice header in the back of the net. And I think that was really what started them off for ASU.
So this is Arizona State University's last game before Pac-12 conference play. What do you guys think this win means for them?
I think they're ready to play. I think, ASU just beat Weber State 4-0. UCLA, top team in the conference and this nation, they just beat them 2-0. So I think they are ready to play. One big concern for me, though, was their shots on target. They had 31 shots, only 14 of them on target. That's not really a good percentage. But I think if they can fix that up, I think they'll be ready to play.
I would have to go with the corner kicks. ASU has given up corner kicks against their opponents all season long. This afternoon, they only gave up one corner kick to Weber State. The entire game, that's 90 minutes, one corner kick. And I think that's wonderful because going into Pac-12 play, if ASU gave up those corner kicks, those Pac-12 teams will eat them alive with them. And so I think that's really wonderful in moving forward for ASU in their Pac-12 conference play.
So ASU's Pac-12 conference play starts on Friday, 7 o'clock against Oregon State. That's all for us at Sun Devil Soccer Arena. You can check out Jose's and Liesel's work on the Sun Devil Soccer team on Cronkite Sports Online.
We'll like to take a breather in between all the seriousness of ASU athletics with some Sun Devil social media. For that, we bring on social media whiz Paige Burnell. Paige, thanks for being here. What do you got for us?
Thank you guys for having me. So first off, we have a little bit of ASU golf for you. Jared Dutois, he's on the PGA Tour in Canada, the Mackenzie Tour, and he has started off so well so far. 82, 61, and 72 in his career, but of course, Sun Devil Golf has to come on and call him Grandpa, because, he's a whopping 22 years old, and he went pro last year. So that's all for Jared. He's doing so well, and it's great to see an ASU guy.
I don't know, Chaz, you're pretty much Gramps now too, huh?
Gramps, are they trying to insinuate that he's older? So what's the whole point of the Grandpa's, Joyce?
He's Grandpa because he's 22. He's ancient by college standards.
Oh, wow.
Nice having you around.
Oh, I get it now. I'm 22, so okay. Yeah,
we look up to you, Chaz. It's okay.
Oh, my goodness. Man.
You're the patriarch. Yeah. And next off, of course, we had to bring a little ASU football in. We have the Fox running across the field. You think that would be lucky for ASU? Obviously, it wasn't. They lost 45-52, but hey.
Where in the world did the Fox come from? Like, this is the most random thing. He's just running around all over the field, man.
It must have been a bad omen for ASU.
Give that guy a scholarship. Look how fast that Fox is going.
What's his 40 time? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Oof. And finally, we have a little bit of hockey. I couldn't come in here and not bring hockey on. Of
course.
And it's a tweet from Dallas, Texas, someone there who saw someone wearing an ASU hockey jersey when it was 95 degrees out.
Well,
that is dedication right there.
They're pretty used to the heat if they're
That's
from
true.
here, so I don't know. I don't know if it makes a difference. They're used to the 100 pluses. 95 is weak on them.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's what I was going to say. They had to be a person from Arizona to be wearing a hockey jersey in Dallas in that type of weather. That is crazy. But from the ice to the hardwood, where ASU volleyball has been on a roll, winning its last 6 matches and is 10-2 heading into Pac-12 play, our WCSN volleyball coverage has this week's CSL conversation to break down the non-conference dominant play and the Conference of Champions.
Someone who's really impressed me is Oluwama Akaro. She's done really well. She has the highest kill percentage on the team, and she has double-digit kills in each of her 11 games this season, so she's done a great job for the squad.
So it has to be Oluma Okaro. She's obviously a senior. She leads the team in kills. What's really impressed me about her is the ability that she's had to lead the team forward, lead them to a good non-conference season record.
I really think it has to be Hallie Harker, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The Maverick Classic, she moved up to 3rd on the all-time digs list for Arizona State.
I think it has to be Greer Hughes. She had 13 kills versus Lamar on Friday, and she's really taken a step up over the past few weeks.
Shelby Dobmeyer really impressed me because she's already had 2 double-doubles, which I think is amazing to start this season off.
Definitely Megan Beatty. She goes in freshman debut and gets 2 kills early in the game.
Well, both teams right now have the same attack percentage. Both are great defensively as well. It's going to be a tightly contested game. I think it really comes down to who has the edge along the offensive end, and I think Arizona will end up pulling it out.
I think the Sun Devils put up a good fight, but I think they ultimately go down in 4 sets. Maybe they win the 2nd set, maybe the 3rd set, but I think the Arizona is just going to be too powerful for them.
I'm going to say a 5-set win for the Devils, just like last year in the closing match of Pac-12 play.
Last year, 12-20, they got a new coach. I'm not expecting them to be at the top, but they're definitely going to make an improvement.
Considering last year they went 12-20, there's been a lot of change, and they've done well so far. I think they'll finish middle to the bottom of the table just because Pac-12 is a very competitive conference.
I think they're going to be better than expected. They obviously didn't do very well last year. I think they're going to finish somewhere in the lower half of the middle of the pack, maybe 7-8 in the Pac-12.
Arizona State women's club hockey is about to begin their 2nd year in the desert behind head coach Lindsay Ellis. The squad had a rough going in their inaugural season as a club sport, only winning their last 2 games of the year. Here's WCSN women's hockey reporter Nick Batters on what to expect from the program in this new season.
When you think of hockey in the desert, you don't think of much outside of the Coyotes. Hockey at ASU, now you have something. With the men's program making the transition to NCAA, there's a lot of attention on the Sun Devils at Oceanside Ice Arena. People forget, or maybe they are just not aware, that ASU has a women's hockey team as well. While they're just a club team, they're in their 2nd full season under head coach Lindsay Ellis and leaves Sun Devil fans with a lot to look forward to this year and beyond. The team is returning 11 players, which means the 15-player roster will feature 4 newcomers. Breaking it down by position, they have 9 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 2 goalies. And speaking of goalies, the team is only starting the season with 1. Sophomore Jordan Nash Bolden will be the lone goaltender for the first half of the season, as Brianna Hersom, the program's other goalie, is out recovering from a torn ACL. While the team is still young with only 5 upperclassmen, that leaves plenty of room to grow, especially with the captain core the team will return with. Casey McGinley and forward Amber Gallows will represent the team as captains, while forwards Taylor England and Danica Borges will serve as the alternate captains. The team began practice just 2 weeks ago as they gear up for a 22-game schedule, one that features 13 home games, including the first 6 contests of the season in Tempe. So while a winning percentage above 500 may be a lofty goal, the program is trending in an upwards direction. Opening puck drop will take place on Friday at 7:30 p.m. at Oceanside Ice Arena in Tempe against Grand Canyon University. You can follow the entire season with complete coverage and in-depth analysis at cronkitesports.com. Chaz, Eliav, back to you.
Thanks, Nick. It's been another interesting week for Pac-12 football. As we head into league play, Harley Yarrow has all the biggest storylines for this week's Impact segment. Harley?
Thanks, guys. The college football season is in full swing, and to say that things are crazy in the Pac-12 would be an understatement. And this weekend was no different. Whether it was USC's double overtime thriller over Texas or ASU's comeback that almost was against Texas Tech, things are heating up in the Pac-12. With conference play starting this weekend, let's get into some standings. Arizona State sits in dead last in the Pac-12 South Division, while 5th-ranked USC sits in first place after its big win over Texas. In the North Division, there's a 4-way tie for first place. Washington State, Cal, Oregon, and Washington all remain undefeated 3 weeks into the season. Oregon travels to play ASU next week as the Ducks are appearing in the top 25 for the first time this season, coming in at the 24 slot. They weren't the only team from the Conference of Champions making their top 25 debut in 2017, as Utah came in a spot above them at 23. Stanford, however, dropped out of this week's top 25 after a 20-17 loss to San Diego State. Things are rolling in the Pac-12, and there's a lot to look out for going forward. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, it's time for The Way It Is. You know how it works, Chaz. I ask you 3 questions. You do the same. Rapid-fire responses, and whoever our producer, Troy Tauscher, picks gets to rant.
Okay,
all right,
let's do it.
I'll start things off. on the heels of another loss for ASU football, is there any silver lining Sun Devil fans can take from that Texas Tech game?
It obviously has to be Manny Wilkins. He stood out. Yeah. We've seen this year when he has time behind that offensive line, he can throw it down the field to his receivers. Let's just look at his stats from this game. 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the biggest stat of all, Eliav, zero interceptions. Wow. So that's efficient. Now, but nevertheless, he has 2 losses while he's under center for the Sun Devils. So how long does he keep his job?
Well, I can't tell you exactly how long, but I can tell you that it's not time to move on yet. You already mentioned the O-line. Not good at all, and I honestly don't think Blake Barnett or Brady White would do any better in those conditions. All right, after several tough matches for Sun Devil soccer, they're finally picking up the pace before Pac-12 play. How important is momentum?
You said it in your question, Eliav, momentum. That's the biggest thing in sports, and at the best time, too. They're heading into Pac-12 play, and this is arguably one of the toughest women's conference, or soccer conferences, in the nation. But the biggest takeaway was 4 goals. That tells me that they were attacking, and in their previous 5 games, they only scored 4 games total, so that's huge. All right, Eliav, ASU volleyball has won its last 6 matches. Who's the X factor heading into this game?
Well, into this Pac-12 conference play, I'm going to have to go with 2. I'm going to have to go with Aluma Caro and Hallie Harker. 2 out of the 3 captains. I mean, they're really going to sway how this team feels, because last year we saw out of the ASU volleyball that momentum really hurt them. We talk a lot about momentum, and it's still a trend. That when they would get down in sets, they would not come back. It would just be they would get down on themselves, and it wouldn't work out. With this team, what I'm noticing is that with Harker and Akaro leading the way, they do not get swayed. All right, Chaz, a fun one for you here. I'm gonna put 2 coaches against each other.
Okay.
Todd Graham, head coach of ASU football, and then the defensive coordinator Phil Bennett.
Okay.
40-yard dash race. Who you got?
That's interesting because I never see Todd Graham do any physical activity, but Phil Bennett. Oh, I see it in the monitor. He's on the bike. He rides that bike every day to practice, so I'm going to give him the edge. I have a funny one coming back your way. It's Monday, and we know everybody's Man Crush Mondays are all in the social media channels. If Sun Devil fans had to pick one ASU player to be their Man Crush Monday after last week's performance, who would it be, Eliav?
I think it's pretty easy, honestly. I'm going to go with N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry had 148 receiving yards. He had 1 touchdown, and he seemed to be everywhere whenever ASU needed a play. I don't think there's any question if he continues that, he's going to be the everyone in Tempe's #MCM.
Okay, that's a good pick. Let's see who our producers.
Come on.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's see it. Let's see the face. The face.
That is me.
All right, here we go. I can't get one. I can't buy one.
It's evident after the Sun Devils suffered their last loss, they're 1-2 this season. I know what you're thinking. You may be the guy in the bar that's whispering to his friend, this team is awful. Or you may be the person on social media screaming at the top of their lungs, talking about how bad this team is. Wait, you have to be optimistic. Remember the 1977 team led by legendary Frank Kush? They had 2 losses but still made a bowl appearance. I know what you're thinking. That's forever ago. Well, okay, let's fast forward to 2014. The team under Todd Graham also suffered 2 losses, but found themselves in a bowl game. You're probably getting my point. Let's settle down and let this season run its course. After all, this is a program that has a history of turning what may look bad into something that is good, and that's the way it is.
All right, top plays. We're starting off at number 3, Devin Kelsey, the 25-yard top shelf cheddar. My God, what a snipe from her against Weber State. Let's see it again. Woo, the finesse was pretty on that one.
All right, play number 2, Manny Wilkins. He's going to run it. Wait, no, he's not. He threw it to Frank Darby to tiptoe down the sideline for the Sun Devil touchdown. That was nice. He faked me out too, Eliav.
You got to love that trick pitch. Now, number 1, we got again Manny Wilkins dropping back. Looking for who? Mr. Kyle Williams climbing the ladder there. Whoa, young man, get up.
My goodness, man, that looked like us today. You threw me the pass, and I caught it right there in the end zone over the shoulder.
I like that. There we go. I like that. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the 2nd episode of Cronkite Sports Live. That's Chaz Frazier. I'm Eliav Gabay. For all of WCSN's content, check out cronkitesports.com. Have a good one.